All right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
All right, so we're going to move into our scripture for tonight, which comes from Ecclesiastes 9 and 11. Ecclesiastes 9, verse 11. I'm going to read from the New International Version first, then the Message Bible, and then Elijah's going to read from the King James Version. Ecclesiastes 9 and 11. I have seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift, or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to them all. The Message Bible, same verse. I took another walk around the neighborhood and realized that on this earth as it is, the race is not always to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor satisfaction to the wise, nor riches to the smart, nor grace to the learned. Sooner or later, bad luck hits us all.
I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happeneth to them all.
All right. So when we think about this scripture, it's definitely a time for now, because there's so much going on outside of our house that has so many people running around afraid, not knowing what's going on, and not thinking that they can hold out. But we know that just because you move quickly doesn't mean that you're moving in the right way. It just means you're doing whatever you're doing fast, as opposed to doing what you're doing correctly. So we want to be able to focus on running this race called life, but not just running through it haphazardly and moving so quickly that we don't have time to stop and smell the roses. But we want to make sure that as we live, as we move, as we have our being, we want to make sure that we do that in a way that gives us an opportunity to endure through all of what it is that we're going through. That we don't want to just give up, but we want to make sure that as we're going through to get through. Because there's something on the other side of whatever obstacle that there is that is going to benefit us. So as we read in the New International Version, that the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong. So people who are fast, people who are physically built, they can make it through a lot of stuff a lot easier than others, because somebody's fast enough to get out of a situation, somebody's strong enough to work through a situation. But those are not the ones that the battle is given to. The battle is given to that person that may not be as strong, may not be as swift. That person is able to just go through and be consistent and be constant and be direct and go through whatever the obstacles are and not give up. So as we continue to go throughout our situations, through the coronavirus, COVID-19, through cancer, through diabetes, through arthritis, whatever it is that we're going through, we're going to still be able to get through as long as we go through with the endurance, with the strength and the fortitude, knowing that the Lord will deliver us out of the situation. Okay? So as long as we have that belief, then we're going to be able to make it through. We don't have to have a whole lot of money. We don't have to have a whole lot of intellect. But we have to be smart enough to know that we can count on God to help us get through the situation. Got it? That's where I am tonight. That's why the connection for me is that even though things can get difficult, if I put my trust in Him, knowing that I can walk through the situation, might not run, but I can walk through the situation and get through on the other side victoriously. There's somebody else, one of my friends, Pastor Funches. We started this whole spiritual race around the same time at age 17. He continued on. He accepted his call to the ministry, and he's been preaching for over 20 years. I did not accept the call at that same time, but I'm still running. I'm still making my way through our marathon called life, And now I've been in ministry for probably about 4 years now, 5 years. But that doesn't mean that my race is different than his race. Our races just started at different times, and we have different expectations. And God has a different plan for both of us. His route went church straight through. Mine went life and took a detour around, a different hill or cliff. And now here I am giving everything that I have to the ministry. So the race wasn't given to me because I was swift or I was strong. It was given to me because I was willing to go through to get to the end. Got it? All right, so that's mine for tonight. Thank you, Sister Cynthia. Thank you, Sister Ariana. Thank you, Brother Elijah. All right.
So I enjoyed what you did about your scripture. I understand how connected to you, like when you and your friend, you were on different paces, but he was at a higher time than you, and you were just doing your life first. But when you do your life, then it starts to connect, and he starts to get lower than you. He starts to get like the same as you. And I also understand that I can actually connect that you can't do your life so fast because sometimes when I want to hurry and do things so I can do things that I want to do, but I'm not enjoying what I'm supposed to do, so it can probably add up to what I can do, so I can do it more. So that's what I enjoyed about your scripture.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
I think it was a great scripture because it shows that it doesn't matter what kind of person you are, if you have certain physical challenges, just as long as you have me, myself, and I, and you have your trust, faith in God, then you can be able to do anything.
Okay. Thank you, Elijah.
I want to say that I really appreciate this scripture tonight because it's important. A lot of times we look at other people and we see how, as you make that connection, we see how they're at different places, and you're like, man, I could be there, or I wish is usually always a statement. But knowing that everybody has their own race to run, and that you don't necessarily have to run it so fast just to get to where God has for you to be. Because sometimes you can just be in the right place at the right time, and God can elevate you so you can go from being at the starting line to being close to the finish line or passing the finish line. So thank you for having me to be able to reflect during that moment about running the race at God's pace and not my own. Okay.
That's key. So the good part is we can all take from each person's story. So the biggest takeaway for me, not that nothing that you said was important, but what Cynthia said was running at God's pace. That's way different than me doing it my way, because it doesn't matter how Elijah starts out or finishes. If he's not doing it God's way, then it's not going to measure up, because it says only what we do for Christ will last. So if we're doing it God's way, we're doing it the right way. So that was a great takeaway for me. Thank you so much. Did anybody else have a quick takeaway? All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing. That's our Bible study for tonight. Came from Ecclesiastes 9 and 11, the New International Version, the Message Bible, and King James Bible. And thank you so much, Sister Cynthia, Sister Ariana Elise, Brother Elijah Earl, and myself. Have a good night.
Bye.
Everybody say goodbye.
Night.
Night.